The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Hear the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus was troubled in spirit and declared, "Very truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So while reclining next to Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread." He gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew why he said this to him. Some thought that, because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So, after receiving the piece of bread, and it was night. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Sometimes it's the shortest sentences, sometimes it's the fewest words that we can often skip over and miss, that actually are the things we need to stop and reflect on. Every year when we get to this particular gospel in Holy Week, I'm always hit by that simple sentence, "and it was night." John's Gospel is a wonderful book for having imagery and using lots of different symbols to help us to understand the deeper meaning of the actions that take place. We begin with the statement about the Word made flesh and the light shining in the darkness. Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus brings light to all of us. And here in the story of the events of this week, we get to that part where Judas leaves the supper, where Judas begins to the betrayal. At that moment, night has fallen. Darkness seems to have the upper hand. And yet we know that the light will not be overcome, that the night will end with another day. Sometimes it can feel as if night is descending upon us. Sometimes night can occur in all sorts of ways. We can feel the darkness around us in our emotions. We can feel the darkness around us in the events that take place. We can feel the darkness constricting us and restricting us from being and doing what we want to be. But what we have to hold on to is that truth that the light will never be overcome, that the light will shine through the night, and that the light will dawn in a new day. At this time when things seem so unsettled, at this time when for many of us the darkness can be a threat to us, let us be reassured that even in the night, Christ is present, that even in the darkness, the light still shines. And let us seek to walk with that light so that we may come to rejoice in that new day.